listen to your prayers. People ask me sometimes, they go, well, why doesn't God just answer the prayer? I mean, instead of maybe you having to endure in prayer. Now, I don't want to seem trite or rude, but a person who asks that question has never prayed very long and had a prayer answered. I don't know exactly why God does it. I know it changes us. I know that He has His time. But there's one thing that will sustain me in prayer. And that's if you've ever endured in prayer over a person's soul or over something that needed to be advanced in the kingdom and you endured, when it finally came to completion, when God finally answered, the joy was joy unspeakable because you knew He had answered prayer. I mean, you knew you had dialogued with God. You knew this is not just some vain religious exercise. I was before Him daily. And He has responded. You have joy not only because of that, because it confirms once again that He is a God who speaks and a God who hears, a God who acts. So, he says, yet because this widow bothers me, I will give her legal protection. Otherwise, by continually coming, she will wear me out. And the Lord said, hear what the unrighteous judge said. Now will not God bring about justice for His elect who cry to Him day and night? Look at day and night. The idea here, the language, is not they pray in the morning and they pray at night, for the matter. That's not what he's saying. Day and night is a summary of all day. Just crying out to God. Now, let me stop here for just a second and talk to you about prayer and true fasting. I have many times sat down and made prayer lists, and prayer lists are good. I have a real general prayer list that just brings things to mind. But I have tried to make lists of things, these are things that need to be done or must be done, or I just know that it's right to ask for these things, and I've tried to endure in it, and I haven't been able to do it. Prayer doesn't exist apart from first fellowship with God, being in His Word and just communing with Him. Okay? Prayer is impossible apart from a right heart. Now, what do I mean by that? In communing with God through His Word, and just communing with Him and conversation and His Word, becoming more and more conformed, His desires becoming yours, His passion becoming your passion. Now, so that the things of God become very important to you. And then as the things of God become very, very important to you, specific things will start being given to you, let's say. And here's kind of how it works. I used this illustration the other day. Let's say that I'm going to go on a hunting trip. Now remember, I'm from America. I'm uncivilized. I do those kind of things. All right, I'm going to go on a hunting trip that I have literally been thinking about going on for a year. Man, I'm going on this hunting trip. Going to hunt a bear. Going to get me a bear. All right? I'm just all excited about it. I'm going to Canada, and I am going to kill me a big old bear. And we're going to have bear meat for an entire year. All right, I'm going to Canada. I'm excited. Talk about it every day. My wife built a little room and lives outside the house because she can't stand me talking about it. I talk about it so much. I'm going to Canada to hunt a bear. Now, the day that I'm leaving, I'm packing my car. Got the car packed, getting ready to get in. I turn around to say goodbye to my family, my wife, and my 3 children. And right then, my oldest boy, Ian, goes, "Daddy, my head, my head." And he falls over in the yard. Now, at that moment, am I going to do this? Dang! Now I can't go to Canada. I mean, I've been waiting all year to go to Canada, and now I can't go because he's fallen over in the grass, unconscious. Is that what I'm going to do? No, here's what's going to happen. Everything I had thought for a year about going to Canada, what I've been dreaming about, is going to totally disappear. I'm not even going to think about Canada any longer. I'm not even going to think about going hunting. It is so far removed from me, all I can think about is whatever's got to be done. My little boy is laying in the grass unconscious. The passion I have for the well-being of my little boy totally eclipsed every other passion that I had, especially the passion for going to Canada and hunting. It consumed everything else. Everything else disappeared from my view, and the only thing I could think about was that. Now, in a way, that has a lot to do with prayer and fasting, especially fasting. You don't say, "Well, I'm going to fast 4 days because, well, I just need to fast for 4 days." It's when you're communing with God and the matters that are important to God become important to you. And as you're communing and praying with Him, sometimes God is going to lay certain things upon your heart, certain burdens and passions upon your heart, and you're going to come to the point where you're going to say to yourself, "I can't breathe unless this happens." Now, if while my boy was laying on the ground, unconscious, someone came up to me and said, "Hey, Paul, don't worry about that. We'll take care of him. You just go to Canada and go hunting." My response would be, "Are you sick? I'm not going to Canada. What's wrong with you? I don't want Canada." Or someone drives by and go, "Hey, Paul, look, we're going to go out to go eat this new pizza place. It's really good. You want to come?" Get away from me. I don't want pizza. I don't want to go to Canada. I don't want to eat. I don't want to drink. I don't want to watch television. I got to get my boy to the hospital. Do you see that? Everything's been eclipsed, hasn't it? By this passion. You say, "Well, that never happens to me." Maybe you're not communing with God as you ought to be. Communing with God. And he goes on and he says, now, I'm going to read verse 8, and then I'm going to read it again. He says, "I tell you that He will bring about justice for them quickly. However, when the Son of Man comes, will He find faith on the earth?" Now, let me read it the way I think it'll communicate the most truth to you. Now, it says in verse 6, "And the Lord said." So the Lord Jesus Christ is speaking, and He's speaking to His disciples. Okay? Now, I want you to just look up here. Just look. Jesus says to them, after giving them this illustration, this parable, He goes like this. Now listen. Hey, listen to me. Listen what the unrighteous judge says. Now will not God, now listen to me, this is a promise. Will not God bring about justice for His elect who cry to Him day and night? Will He delay long over them? I tell you, He will bring about justice for them quickly. Really, He will. But then again, who among you is even going to believe what I'm saying? When the Son of Man returns, will He find anybody believing this stuff? Believing what I'm telling you? Do you see that? Look at that. However. I mean, it's this glorious promise, and then He comes, however, when the Son of Man comes, will He find faith on the earth? Will He find anybody taking me at this word? You know what's amazing?